Doom is a franchise you all have probably heard of. It has been renowned for its intense, brutal, and revolutionary gameplay throughout the past 30 years since its launch in 1993. Created by id Software, Doom started off as a flat 3D shooter with fun gameplay that changed the shooter industry forever. Created by only 5 people, but it quickly turned into something much bigger the original team could have ever imagined. Only 10 months later, the sequel to Doom came out, and it found itself decent success, but not nearly as much as the original. They eventually moved on to other games like Quake, but in the year 2000, they started development for Doom 3. It would divide the fan base between people who liked the new style that they were trying to go for, and people who wanted the old style back. In 2009, id Software was bought out by ZeniMax Media, owners of Bethesda Studio, which you would know from Skyrim, Fallout, and more. Doom 4 was announced that it was in development around 2008, but it wouldn't be released till 8 years later in 2016, because it was, quote, conceptualized and prototyped, scrapped, and then redeveloped from scratch. But eventually it came out, and it had much better reception than Doom 3, and everyone liked the new style this time, and the direction the Doom franchise was headed. With Doom 2016 being so well received, they immediately got to work on their next project, Doom Eternal, which would be their biggest yet. In 2020, Doom Eternal releases to an overwhelmingly positive reception, and is the finale for the Doom franchise. Currently, id Software is working on a new game, but the details haven't been announced. Doom 3 was, quote, cramped, slower, poor level design, weak story, boring gunplay and fight mechanics in general, repetitive gameplay situations, no music, and bad sound design. At the time, it seemed like that was the final nail in the coffin for the Doom franchise, but with hindsight, we know that's not true. Was Doom 3 a failure, though? Absolutely not. It sold 3.5 million copies at launch, which was the most to date, and since then it has aged like fine wine. But at the time, people really were divided. But why was Doom 3 so negatively received, but Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal were so good? To get the answers, you kinda have to look at the gameplay of each game. Doom 3 was a total shift in style, gameplay, storytelling, and level design, and each for the worse because of what the 2000s technology could handle. Doom 2016 was also a huge shift, but it had the benefit of newer resources, technology, a bigger team, and more time, so they ended up making a better story that added on to the classic 1993 game. Amazing looking graphics, guns, models, and engaging gameplay as well. Doom Eternal just perfected what Doom 2016 started, and it finished off the franchise as well. The DLCs that added on to Eternal's story, The Ancient Gods Part 1 and Part 2, weren't as received as 2016 in the base game of Eternal, because they were cramped, much slower, and introduced way too much without a tutorial, which is ironic because a lot of that is what happened with Doom 3, and that's why it was so negatively received at that time. In conclusion, the Doom reboots became masterpieces because of the amount of time and careful consideration on what to add to the game. Going for a gritty action FPS was the right decision, and they were able to take what worked from previous games and add it all into an amazingly fun and creative experiences. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. It helps out more than you know.